because that tells me that you are concerned and you're willing to come out in the rain. I know we were having a lot of rain up in Evans Pass, and I was thinking to myself that that would keep a lot of people home, but not so. This is a very, as I say, a very highly charged agenda item, and I'm asking for common respect if you will please not interrupt anyone who's speaking. I'd like to ask for a show of hands of participants so that who will offer something to the agenda item so I can judge my time. How many people will be okay. Pardon? Yeah, we'll be asking to speak, yeah. And I think based on the number of hands, we would be safe in giving you a good 5 minutes. Okay? We ask that your presentations be clear and concise as possible. I know there's a lot of emotion here, but would you please try not to repeat points that have been made, because we want to hear as many ideas on cost savings as possible. Let us reiterate that the purpose of this agenda item, or the purpose of this meeting, is just to get your ideas on retiree health benefits. We are not making any decisions today. We will certainly take everything down and we will get back to you just as quickly as we can. So we'd like to start with Dave.
Okay, I'm just going to review the staff report for background information on this particular subject. The district has experienced some substantial increase in healthcare costs over the past years, and as a result of that, we need to reevaluate our current policies regarding the level of benefits provided. We did send a letter out to all the retirees in respect to this item. There's currently 32 retirees under the district program. So they were all advised of this. We did receive letters, and you should have letters in your packet from those that could not attend. So we want to consider them as part of the comments that we'll be doing today. Currently, the district provides health care benefits for all full-time employees and retirees, and this includes medical insurance through CalPERS. It's the first choice plan, dental insurance, which is exclusive of orthodontia coverage, and also vision plan through vision services. The district currently pays 100% of the premium cost for both the retiree and his or her spouse and or dependents. The district, that relates to employees that were hired prior to January 1, 1997. This is per an existing resolution your board adopted. However, there's some possible exceptions for employees hired up to July 2002 that may also qualify for the 100% premium paid by the district. Those that were hired after that date have to work for the district a minimum of 5 years in order to qualify for the benefit. And then they also have to have a total years in service in the CalPERS system with a minimum of 10 to get 50%. And this contribution increases for employees that have 20 years or more service in CalPERS. It goes up to 100%. Currently, we're paying about $501 per month for the employee or retiree only, $1,003 per month for a retiree with one dependent, and $1,304 per month for a retiree with two or more dependents. These programs are offered through the CalPERS program under the Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act. And currently, we have what is called the equal contribution method. That is, we pay the same for employees that we pay for retirees. There has been some need to change and reevaluate this current policy, and a couple of the things relate back to the rapidly increasing healthcare costs above inflation. We currently have averaged about 12.6% annual increase in health insurance costs over the last 6 years. That represents about a 75% increase in cost to the district. Combined, we also have about 200% additional retirees currently on our system, so that is also added to the cost. Currently, we spend about $320,000 a year on retiree health care costs. And total district-wide, we spend over $1 million a year. So these are not small amounts of money that are currently being spent for this coverage. Another factor that's sort of working against us is that there's a rising number of retirees subject to the benefit. In 2004, the district changed its retirement formula with CalPERS from 2% at 55 to 2.7% at 55, which essentially means an employee with 25 years of service under the old retirement plan would have received about 50% of his health care, or 50% of his retirement benefit at 55 after 25 years of service. Now with this change, we're looking at about 67.5% of the single highest year of the employee's salary, which obviously allows people to retire early. Subsequently, that means that if people are retiring early, we're keeping people on the health plan for longer periods of time. So it's not unlikely that we would be providing benefits to retirees for 25 or 30 years through their retirement based on current life expectancy. So again, that's a high cost that's not only rapidly increasing, but we have more people involved in it, and we currently pay about $10,000 per retiree per year just for health benefits. In addition, beginning July 1 of 2008, our next fiscal year, we must comply with Governmental Accounting Standards Statement 45. This is a program that requires us to basically determine what our unfunded liability is for health insurance and then show that on our balance sheet. So we need to set up some mechanisms to address this long-term unfunded liability. And one of the first things we need to do is have an actuarial study to determine the amount. I mean, obviously, we're dealing with multiple millions of dollars in terms of an unfunded liability as costs continue to rise. So that's sort of where we're at on that. The other item that I want to just mention is that the district recently went through substantial rate increases for water and wastewater, and as a result, we have responsibilities to our customers and ratepayers that to be as prudent as we can with the dollars that we have allocated for that. So that was a substantial increase. We're talking a 4-year increase of about 87% for our customers. So there's concern that we have a commitment to our customers to make sure their costs are in line with what other agencies are paying. We've provided some options for consideration, and that's all they are. I think what we want to do is talk about what ways we can save or reduce costs relative to retiree health care, and how we approach it. Certainly up to your board. You know, you can move on a current basis, a moving forward basis with people that are retiring in the future, or with people that are hired by the district in the future. There's a number of options that could be explored in terms of how you want to approach this. But I think there's a couple items that just need to be put out for discussion. Is that we talk about vision plan coverage and dental plan coverage, which are not life-threatening or emergency related. Consider whether those benefits should be reduced or eliminated. Obviously, what we want to talk to retirees about is potential for some cost sharing on the premiums with dependents. So that's sort of some options there. Discussion is we discussed up to maybe 20% of the dependent cost being paid for by retirees. So that, in a nutshell, is the sort of the discussion. I suggest we open up for discussion and the board discussion.
Do I have more comment or not away? If whoever cares to address the issue, if you come to the podium and identify yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Melissa Eads, and I'm the daughter of Larry and Deanne Copeland. And I have a letter prepared by my mom, Deanne Copeland, that I would like to read to everyone. I have additional copies as well.
Yeah, it was on a minute ago.
Says a lot. Can you hear me?
No.
Again, my name is Melissa Eves, and I am the daughter of Larry and Deanne Copeland, and I am reading this letter on behalf of my mom, Deanne Copeland. Dear directors, my name is Deanne Copeland. I went to work for the Calaveras County Water District. I had left an excellent job that I enjoyed doing very much. The reason for this career change was specifically to seek the retirement benefits offered through the PERS retirement system, as well as the retirement health plan promised by CCWD. Retirement plans I knew that someday I would need. In December 1996, my husband was diagnosed with an incurable form of cancer called non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. This disease finally forced his retirement in 2004. However, his retirement did not provide health insurance coverage. At that point, he became totally dependent on my health plan for coverage. In 2004, I was able to retire from CCWD knowing that my health benefits were to continue and that this benefit would continue to cover my husband's treatment. This retirement has given me precious time to spend with my husband and to enjoy our lives together. My husband's cancer has recurred twice, and he is currently receiving chemotherapy for a third time. This is the reason I'm unable to attend this meeting. I cannot express to you the seriousness of the decision you are about to make. As far as I'm concerned, your decision is literally one of life and death. Without my health insurance benefit, my husband will not be able to find health insurance policy accepting his pre-existing medical condition. Even temporary COBRA insurance premiums, in addition to the medical expenses already incurring, would be enough to affect the quality of care my husband would receive. You, as directors, have been given the charge to identify problems, investigate solutions, and implement change. I would consider it deplorable that you, the directors, could so deliberately harm retired employees, the employees that followed your predecessors' leadership, suggestions, and solutions. Do not make their failures your failures. I do understand the public trust given to you to satisfy the bottom line in running the district. However, I find it inexcusable the board would not put forth the effort to find an alternative solution to this situation. There is a solution that does not betray the public trust or that of the employees. There is a solution which honors the promise given to employees when they were first hired. Any solution which betrays the public or employees' trust is a failure, an option that should not even be considered. For the board to give up the search and choose to implement a plan that hurts those who cared so much is unconscionable. To correct this problem by hurting the physical and emotional well-being of your retired employees is nothing short of your failure as directors to meet that solemn charge given to you. Please do not fail us or yourselves. Let us keep the retirement benefits we have worked for. Sincerely, Deanne Copeland.
I don't have a first copy of the letter you sent to the retirees, but you've seen there that we were going to take their health care away?
No, there's no proposal to eliminate it, this is cost sharing.
I've heard that several times today, how staff is proposing that we cut completely health care for everybody, and I just think we need to make it clear that that's not on the table.
Can I ask a question?
Speak up. Excuse me, we're having a hard time.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm just having a little perception problem. I'm new on the board in terms of you are the retired employee.
So I am Melissa Eves. I'm the daughter of Deanne Copeland, who is the retired employee.
Okay.
My father is ill right now and undergoing chemotherapy, and they are out.
That's what I was confused at because I thought you were the retiree.
No.
That wasn't making sense. Thank
Thank you.
My name is Christina Torres. Everyone knows me as Tina Torres. I'm a retiree. When I was hired in 1997, I went through 2 interviews. The first interview was with Susan Halligan, Dee Copeland, and Pam Reynolds. Pam Reynolds was the Human Resources Officer at that time. During the first interview, I was told that benefits included health insurance for retirement. This was a big part of my decision to come to work for CCWD. I had my insurance license at the time. I could have stayed doing what I was doing. I was called for a second interview and testing, and again Pam Reynolds told me what the benefits were and that it included health insurance at retirement. When I started work, I had an employee orientation with Pam Reynolds. She provided me an employee handbook, and we went over it page by page. In the benefit summary on page 3, under the PERS health benefits, it clearly stated that I would have health insurance for retirement, and there was no contribution required on the retiree's part. In April 1999, a revised benefit summary page was handed out, and again, it clearly states that I would have health insurance at retirement. The percentage of contribution was not put into place until 2002, which was well over 4 years after I started working for CCWD and after the promise of benefits had already been made to me and many other employees. I was put into a position that I had to retire long before I had planned to. As some of you know, my husband has Alzheimer's, and therefore I can no longer work full-time as he needs me to be home with him. We are barely surviving on $2,400 a month, so to have to start paying for health insurance would be prohibitive to me and my husband at this time. I cannot afford to lose my insurance, nor can I afford to pay a premium. I already struggle to pay deductibles, co-pays, and prescription co-pays. My husband's prescriptions are extremely essential to his well-being. I would like to state that I cannot believe there are people who become wealthy on the backs of worker bees, going around to companies and agencies, stripping worker bees of their benefits. People who probably don't even, the worker bees who don't even make an eighth of this man's annual salary. And I cannot believe that you as a board who claim you want the water district to be a family would hire and pay well over $50,000 to strip retirees their benefits that we were promised. That money could have been put towards funding the benefits. I would like to quote a sentence in the letter that you received from Jim Deaton, and I hope that this is entered as part of his letter. I urge the board to carefully reconsider their past promises. Thank you.
My name is Jerry Forth. I've worked for Calaveras County Water District for 31 years. In order to maintain our benefits, CCWD employees went without cost of living raises over the years. Part of our benefit package was a contract with CalPERS in which it was agreed that with X amount of years of service you would get full health insurance coverage for yourself and your spouse. In addition, retirees would receive a monthly retirement based on a percentage for each year of service. This is in a contract with CCWD and CalPERS. There were years when CalPERS investments had high returns, leaving CCWD without having to pay CalPERS for our retirement benefits. This was a large sum of money. Over the years, we have earned and paid for our benefits by working for less pay. And as a ratepayer, I would like to say that bringing in an outside negotiator is a waste of CCWD funds. Thank you very much.
My name's Mike Miller, and I've just recently retired after 34 years in the water utility business. And when I came over here a little less than 10 years ago, I did so in large part due to the retirements that were promised to me, and it's in writing. That's medical and also dental and vision. I took a really substantial cut in pay to come to work here, and I had to sit and think about it for quite a long time. I left there at 24 years, top step line worker. Came here as a maintenance 1 trainee. That's not even a livable wage. And I made those sacrifices, and I was out all night along with the rest of these guys fixing water lines, in large part for the medical, dental, and vision that I was promised upon retirement. Now, the idea that those things are going to be taken away by anybody's opinion are patently unfair and unethical, maybe bordering on criminal. So you guys can do what you want. I know that, and there's not much that I can do as a single person out here talking. Appreciate your letting me get up here and say something, but I don't know how you guys can sleep at night.
Once again, I'll ask, is it on the table for us to take retirees' benefits away?
Yes.
Vision and dental, and a portion of your dependents.
Good morning. I am Roger Messersmith. I have worked 40 years of public service, 30 of which have been with CCWD. I was hired as an inspector, worked many years as field supervisor, and then as field superintendent. I am a repair person, an organizer, but not a public speaker, so please bear with me. Apparently a statement was made several times by your negotiator that taking benefits away from your employees is not about money, but about taking back control. I am confused. Can anybody clarify what this really is about? And what does taking back control have to do with the retired? Your actions here today will affect the morale, cause strife, and sincerely hamper your ability to hire good quality employees in the future. If you attempt to do away with hard-earned benefits for either the employees, the retirees, or go back on your promises, you will definitely lose trust of your employees, and I suspect the citizens of Calaveras County as well. I would like to go back in time for a minute. I can remember when Sheep Ranch had only an earthen frog pond as their water supply, with all the wildlife and neighborhood dogs using it as a watering hole. Because of lack of money, CCWD's employees got together on weekends and voluntarily took an unused redwood tank down in Arnold and rebuilt it in Sheep Ranch. This was the first time the people of Sheep Ranch had safe water to drink. A similar situation existed in West Point, a concrete-lined pond full of frogs and pine needles, no treatment. Again, your employees took a concrete wall down at the government center to get 3 unused pressure filters removed. Then they built and installed them in West Point, and for the first time, West Point had treated water. Waukegan could no longer meet state standards with their little sewer treatment plant. Your employees found a pair of gravity filters up in Rockland. We removed them, and without engineering help, used them in conjunction with designing and building a complete tertiary treatment plant that would treat and meet state standards for 3 years while a new plant could be designed and built. One more. We had a drought occur, and Lake Tulloch was nearly drained for dam repair. In order to deliver water to our customers, we had to lay nearly a mile of temporary pipe in the bottom of the lake. We struggled in waist-deep mud, working under a 100-mile-an-hour wind beneath a double-bladed helicopter to accomplish this task. We built a floatable pump. We could float out and sink in the small lake that was left. This was built as at an employee's home and worked like a charm. When the lake was filled, we dove, retrieved the pump, and all the pipe from the bottom of the lake, with our customers never being without water. This is only a few examples of things accomplished in the past with a few highly skilled, motivated, and dedicated employees. You do not get this kind of dedication and production by being deceptive, going back on your contractual obligations, and taking away hard-earned benefits that have been fairly negotiated for in lieu of wages in the past. You have people that have been willing, dedicated, or worked way beyond the call of duty for a salary that has been below standard rates. They have done this because of your promises and agreements of lifetime benefits. Have any of you looked at the state certification requirements? Do you know the amount of study and knowledge required to attain one of these? Your employees go home at night and study for hours, day after day, night after night, to pass one of these exams. I tell you from past experience, these are not easy things to attain and require a huge amount of time and knowledge. How do you encourage people to work this hard to benefit the district? I can tell you, it's not by taking things away. You need to be commending, supporting, and encouraging your employees. They are the ones that deal with the public each day and make all of you look good in the public eye. We have been told that your negotiating team came to the table with a whole list of things to take away, but without a single item of encouragement to help meet the rising cost of living. What's up with that? Let's assume the talk about control is a deceptive statement, and the underlying statement really is about money. Why browbeat and demotivate your employees? Give them their hard-earned raises and benefits. Your solution to money issue is not acceptable. Here are some suggestions you can work on in other areas that will benefit and save future money for the people of Calaveras County. For instance, why are we still taking water out at Avery and pumping it with 300 and 350 horsepower pumps all the way to Dorrington and above? You need to be working on a plan to take water out of the Stanislaus above our facilities, treated and delivered by gravity down the mountain all the way to Copper Cove. It would be one treatment plant and pipeline serving everything on that side of the county, including Murphy's and Angels Camp, thus eliminating the treatment plants along the way. The same plan should be in place for the sewer, with the treatment plant being in the lower districts, eliminating these little treatment plants that require separate staff and daily operation. Another thought, why build all these power-hungry, high-tech wastewater treatment plants that were designed for big cities where land was not available? We have the land, and a pond and estuary system would do quite nicely. This same thing can be applied to the other side of the county in the Moke River to help protect our water rights of liquid gold that we are allowing to slip between our fingers. Any of you that have children and grandchildren should be concerned that we have adequate supply of clean drinking water and agricultural water for now and future generations. The availability of clean drinking water and effective treatment of wastewater will determine the quality of life in the future. Please think about what has been said here and make the right decision. You are dealing with three groups of people: the retired, the existing workers, and the people you are hiring in the future. It is new hires that you need to change policy with, not the retirees and employees you have made promises to and have contractual agreements with. With good planning now, the financial problems will take care of themselves as we all slowly disappear off the face of the earth. Support our employees so that we can move forward and not end up as a group of people that couldn't care less. It's vitally important that we all work in good faith and as a productive team with trust in each other and give the people of Calaveras County the service and quality they deserve. Thanks for your time.
Roger, I just had a question. You did not see in the newspaper in our last board meeting, we hired a consultant to put a wastewater line down the whole fourth quarter. You didn't see that. Good suggestion.
I think you brought up an important point in the discussion, many of them, but the one that was, what I'm thinking is we do have three classes of employees. We have retirees, we have existing, and we have new hires. So are you saying that the retirees would support us changing the new hire structure?
I don't know. I'm only speaking for one person, but it seems to me that if you guys want to change something, that's the place to change it. Not
I
very reasonable.
I'd also like to know if we got a copy of your letter. I thought it was a clear, concise letter. Thank you so much.
If I might, Madam Chair. I'm John Stewart and was the general manager for a couple of years, and it's going to be a tough act to follow Roger on this one, but I'd like to maybe cement a couple of the points that he was trying to raise in his commentary. Prepared a letter, and I apologize to the folks that I didn't have enough copies for all of you, but I have quite as many quotes. But maybe I can just read chunks of it into the record for the benefit of the folks out here. I recognize that David sent out a letter on healthcare coverage would be an issue on today's agenda. This item causes me much concern both for my wife and for me. Both past practice and personal assurance led me to believe that health care benefits would be provided in retirement if I left my job in Napa and took a job as a general manager for ccwd. Those discussions led to language in my employment agreement dealing with benefits upon retirement, three very important issues of retirement benefits. Likely my situation is not so different from the case of other retired employees who are trying to make ends meet on retirement incomes that were carefully calculated out based upon certain long-standing practices in place at ccwd. Retirement incomes are essentially fixed, with only 2% COLAs applied. Those retirement incomes are used to pay for a variety of expenses such as food, housing and upkeep, utilities, transportation, and everyday living expenses. The COLA does not provide enough cushion to absorb huge increases in any one area. It seems both an issue of ethics and an issue of morality to change the deal after an employee is retired. Had the change been anticipated, the retiree would have had an option of accommodating the change with a number of contingency plans, such as working longer or bargaining for a shift in total compensation for more salary so that an annuity could be set aside. I found my fellow employees to be very intelligent and dedicated, and I'm sure that contingency plans would have been developed had they known about it. If you must change some part of the deal, let it be for those you're just hiring. In that scenario, the employee would have a whole career to develop plans and funding to handle the shift in financial burden from the district to the employee. Likely the current employees are vitally interested in what happens here because they are the retirees of tomorrow. If you plan on shifting the district's responsibility to employees, you should expect the employees to ask for additional compensation to begin funding this additional retirement expense. The reporting of unfunded obligations does not require that you fully fund them. The purpose of the GASB audit reporting of unfunded liability is simply to bring attention to the governing body that the liability exists. To a large extent, it's the same thing as with depreciation expense for infrastructure. You don't need to hold 100% of system replacement costs in the bank. Just annually fund the amount annually incurred, and it all works out very nicely. You probably have the power to make the changes in health care benefits to retirees that you're talking about. But a part of the responsibility of power is that it's used with discretion and to social good. The application of power sometimes means choosing not to hurt someone. Retirees or ordinary folks pardon me, that have given partial or full careers to ccwd. The expectation at ccwd was that health care benefits would be provided, fully funded upon retirement. To change the deal now on retirees would be ethically and morally wrong. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Simon Granville. Good to see you all again. Another problem, another solution just around the corner, right? As long as you keep a positive attitude, you can make almost anything happen. And in this situation, I think there is probably some solutions out there if you keep your eyes open to things that perhaps you've done in the past. I recall one time when the district was looking for dough, they ended up selling property. There's a bunch of excess property. The district sold it, came up with revenue and they were able to do something. I understand you have a piece of property across the street, you bought back some time ago to put an administrative building up there, and it never really happened. I understand the property's value is upwards to $1 million, purchased for about $300,000 from what I recall. There are some financial opportunities that this district can do to increase its revenue. One of them is utilizing existing real estate that has not been sold. There's also a lot of growth happening in the community, as you all are well aware, and to position the resources, the financial resources of this district in a way to maximize its yield on revenues, perhaps in a different way. It's been done by Irvine Ranch Water District in the past, to use real estate as a method to increase its revenues. That's still an opportunity available to districts today. Obviously, public agencies don't have to pay taxes. They don't have to pay capital gains taxes, so that gives you a lot more leverage from that standpoint. Many districts provide 100% coverage for their retirees as well as the existing employees. But this district has some benefits that others don't have, and that is they have the power revenue. Many districts don't have power revenue. Other districts, they also have to buy the water. You don't have to buy the water. You already own the water. There's two areas that you don't even have to worry about as far as other existing agencies, as far as if you want to compare CCWD to other water districts. You have quite a benefit here. Now, I don't know if the district has looked at the future potential increase in customer base as far as an offset for future income. I don't know if the district looked at the current investments, the current yield on those investments, and other ways to increase those yields. But looking through several different increments of yield, you may be able to come up with a way to increase revenues. I haven't seen anything in my review of your agenda item that indicates if you've evaluated the current yields and ways to maximize those yields. That's another opportunity. I think one of the reasons that people want to come to work for CCWD is because when they retire, they have a benefit. When they're working here, they have a benefit. They may not have the best and highest salary while they're working here, but they know that they can always count on that. And I remember when I was your general manager, this item was always one that was of critical importance, that makes sure that we kept the morale of the district employees up by alleviating this particular worry. It's a worry for folks who are employed currently and ones that are not employed and are retired. It's an item that I think is sacrosanct for any public agency in order to garner the trust and will of the employees. Now, I know that retired employees, if there was a problem with this district, they would come out and assist without asking to be paid. I mean, you have some people here that have some fantastic talents, and they're always ready and available to assist without saying, hey, pay me. No, they're here as, hey, we want to make this district work right. That they put the time and effort to make this district what it is, and that means a lot to them, and they want to continue and receive the benefits that they should be rewarded with from having that district employment. I'd be more than happy to assist in any way that I can to help participate in any financial increase in yields for your current investments, or if there's something that you haven't looked at that you might need some help with. Anyway, I wish I didn't have to be here today and rather be doing other things, but it's good to see you all, and I hope you can resolve this to the benefit of everybody. Thank you.
Simon, Ed, Director Rich. No.
Simon, just like the prior gentleman, and I'm sorry, the old thing is you pay attention to what affects you the most, but having led the charge for 2 years to turn all the investments around and look at surplus properties, I agree with your point. However, I'd like to point something out. I'd like to ask a question. Since the two former gentlemen, I see your names on a lot of documents. You're both general managers. One of the reasons I got on the board, and I'm just saying to you, you heard an earlier gentleman, Mr. Miller, point out that he left a higher paying job to come up here and work for 10 years so that he could retire with lifetime benefits. This agency, as in a lot of small rural people, have used that as a way to retrain and attract people. The problem we have is, and I want to ask you, because before I came on the board, I was one of those ratepayers. In fact, I don't even pay rates. I pay property taxes, so I get nothing on my property taxes to go to ccwd. But we turned back on this board where directors got lifetime benefits because it wasn't right, okay? Now, the problem we have now is you've heard some of these families, the younger families sitting out there, saying, the young people saying, I can't make it on the salary you give me. So they get the benefits, but the senior people who are eyeing retirement have higher pay, okay? So what we're finding, we have positions that we can't attract people to because they can't just take higher benefits because the base salary doesn't buy their groceries. Have you seen what $100 buys in your cart? Of course you have. So we're trying to reconcile that now because the small rural community thought is I won't pay you much, but you're taken care of for life. Just isn't working anymore. The costs have gone up dramatically in all kinds of areas. And quite frankly, the 2.7 thing gave an inducement for people to leave earlier. Why wouldn't you retire sooner and be as healthy as you could? But that doesn't help us with the young people. And we're trying to stay up with ever-changing things. Life's getting real sophisticated and costly in the water wastewater business, as you know. And I'm just saying we're trying to reconcile those. So I'm just pointing out to you that, like the previous gentleman, and I'm not saying that on your spare times off, read our minutes, but we are working to solve a lot of those things. But we still have a fundamental system. The program that worked in this county and in other agencies doesn't seem to work as well as it used to, and we're trying to find a solution.
So let me just ask you a question in regards to your statements there. When the district goes out and advertises the position, are you saying that no one's applying?
Yep.
No one's applying for
Yep. General manager, I'd like to find out what we paid you guys, because what I had to swallow to pay him choked me.
It was very similar.
All right. The point is, we have engineering positions, we're trying to staff up, and the problem is, the younger people, and see, we're looking at trying to train people and build that in-house institutional knowledge. You're not the only person that said, I came here, worked a couple of years, then I retired. So I lose the institutional knowledge. But in backfilling you, I've got younger families. What do younger families have? They have children. They have a lot of these issues that I'm trying to now say. One of them said to me the other day, she said, at $13.75 an hour for a clerk, I can't make it. If you don't help me, I'm going to go work for Burger King. She obviously hasn't talked to Burger King. My problem is, I've got to find a way to balance the two because I've got to put in the bottom of the stream newer people, train them so that I have them longer. And but I just wanted to make the point. Now, I wasn't trying to get philosophical. I was trying to point out because both of you gentlemen were general managers. Okay, and anything you said is, and I can understand when I retire, I wouldn't read the newspaper about what was happening at ccwd. We are looking at all those things. But the other problem is the old formula was take lower pay, retire earlier is causing problems.
Well, I don't think Burger King provides health insurance when the proposed. But
I would like to give everybody else an opportunity, please, John, before you come back to us, okay? Do I have someone else from the audience that cares to make a presentation or make a comment? Yes, no.
Oh, please. Please,
Yeah.
I apologize. Please.
Good morning, my name is Carol Mars. I was just, everything I had to say has basically been said, but I do have a few comments. I was never offered dental and vision when I retired. I started in 1970 and I retired in 1991. But irrespective of that, the 2008 premium for retirees on Medicare, I know there's some young retirees, but there's also a number of us elder ones that are on Medicare. So the Medicare premium is $698.22 for January 2008 to December 31st. So, and then you've got some retirees that are single, and their premium, I believe, is $398 and something. So there's a lot of the older retirees that you're not paying a whole lot of money for. Is this, are you going to start cutting into their, are you asking to have them participate in, the premiums?
Well, the issue is really, we need to treat the retirees the same regardless of what their situation is. So, whatever the board ultimately decides on that. So, the retirees will be a group, will be treated the same all the way around. So if you're age 65 or older, I don't think that would make much difference relative to this. Obviously, if your premium's less, if there's a copay, you pay less than copay if the premium's less. It's based on, if you're currently if you're under 65, you pay $501 a month for a single retiree.
Right.
You only have to pay $349 for a retiree that's over 65. So obviously, you would correspondingly not share the same costs.
The district wouldn't share the same costs.
No, the district would treat everybody the same, but, so if you're paying 20% of 501, you're paying $100. If you're paying 20% of 349, you're paying $70. That's for an example. I'm just throwing that out as an example. So you would pay less because your premium is less, but you still pay the same percentage. But that's a bad example because we're not really proposing to do anything for the retirees, just for the dependents.
Yeah. Well, like everyone else, I was promised health coverage when I retired, and I would hope that I'm not asking for any other benefits that later retirees receive, such as dental and vision. All I'm asking you is to continue the promise the board of directors made to us upon retirement, and thank you for your consideration in this matter. Also, I received 3 letters. Have you gotten all 3 letters?
We have to know what.
From retired employees.
Oh, we've got.
Did you read them all? Okay.
I haven't read all the ones I got today, but I've read these.
Because there's some very good points made in there.
Can I ask one question that this lady brought up? I just don't know. When they implemented in 2004 the CalPERS 2.7% plan, with that, people that retired prior to that date would have a lower, would have what they retired at. So in other words,
We didn't get that benefit.
right.
They didn't.
Because the new people after that got like 70% more money. But
Right.
in terms of our contribution, I'm of the understanding that we make the same contribution on retirees based upon the pay. You would just get less in that you didn't get that 17% bump that the people were
No, I didn't. No.
But it's the same percentage, it's just a little something.
Thank you. Do I have any other?
Yeah, I have.
Well, this woman is first.
This way.
Hi, I'm Marty Crane, and I'm not an employee of ccwd, but I am retired. And I've been listening to this whole discussion today, and I just have to say that I'm very impressed with the employees of ccwd and the knowledge and the suggestions that they're bringing to the table. I really kind of expected that it would just be a lot of people protesting, but every person that has come to the table has brought with them suggestions and solutions, and I don't see the board racing to make a decision really quick. And I think it's important that that it continue as a discussion until the right solution, and when you find the right solution, it will feel right. And I did want to say also that there are a lot of different retirement plans out there with other companies, and they're not all wonderful. The only reason my husband and I are still able to get out and do what we do is because we don't have a house payment. But we would be in the same boat with $2,400 a month trying to make it work, and because of the management of that pension plan, that will be reduced by 2/3 starting next year. So I'm just saying that their pension board did not really pay attention to when they hired people to come in and paid them millions of dollars, and $500,000 or $50,000 to this board is like the $1 million that they had because they had a lot more money. And effectively, $97 million was stolen legally. So my point of mentioning that is because what you do and how much energy and thought you give to all of this is extremely important, because the people that advise you come because they're earning money, but not because they have a total vested interest in CCWD. So it's the decisions that you make when you gather all the information. So I applaud you for taking the time to find the solution that feels right. And I really applaud the relationship that you've built between the board and your employees over the years. It feels family. It feels good. One thing, though, I noticed in this paper, and I have to admit that I haven't paid as much attention maybe as I should have, and is that what is secretarial staff $2 million? What is that? And then also, I'm sure it's not that, but it read that way, and I just wanted to ask that question. And I had one other thing too, and I have totally slipped my mind on it, but maybe I'll think of it. But anyway, thank you.
Oh, secretarial fund. Those were the bills that come in on a monthly basis.
Oh,
We're paying
okay.
construction, electricity, water, supplies. Yeah. No, it's not for a secretary. No, it's not Mona.
Mona would like that,
No,
yeah.
it's not Mona.
I have.
Well, I knew that's not what
Okay.
Oh, I remember what it was. I'm a ratepayer, and that's why I came here today. Our rates went up dramatically, so what is that paying for? That's what I want.
Look over the secretary.
Okay, the fellow who's going to speak.
So is that what it's paying for?
Everything.
The monthly bills? It's not also helping to...
Well, yeah.
Is that?
Here, these are our bills.
Yeah.
That's just a month.
This is our bills.
Oh, I'm sure it's expensive.
My name's Mick Sarah, part of the Sarah team that worked for many, many years for Calaveras County. And I only have one question. We met with the employees in the SEIU, and we were told many times that this is not a money issue, that there are some other issues here, and it would kind of help in our planning. If there's something else that we need to discuss when we have our get-togethers other than money, I would like to have that information.
I feel
I think it's a money issue. I don't know what else it could be. I mean, it's a money issue, you know, what's happening, this is not the director's proposal. We didn't, get together in closed session and say, you know what, we need to try to do something here. We assume we'll be paying $1 million a year for retirement health care. And I don't think, there really is a great deal of will at the board to try to take anything away from existing retirees. But we have to have a solution for the future. And it is about money. Just as many hard luck cases as there are out here, people who have significant issues that deserve to be taken care of. I got 4 phone calls last week from people with very similar stories on the ratepayer side, because they just got their new rate bill, and I gave them the names of my fellow directors who voted for that rate. But they're real issues. So it's really representative of the ratepayers also. And so I think that's what we're trying to find is a solution for the future. And going backwards is very rarely a good solution. But we have to be able to have some cooperation from staff about the future. Otherwise, it's going to be a big problem. So if you were to ask me what I need from you, I need some support on changing things for the future and allowing us to pay some more money for new hires, and not having a big issue with the union saying, no, everybody has to be treated equally, because that's not going to work. Because we can't continue to do that.
I thought maybe that was the country that we lived in, that everybody's supposed to be treated equally.
Well, that's not, you can wave a flag at me if you want. You know more of an American than I am. Well, perhaps we can sit here and have a heated argument if you like.
Well, I have another question. Do you have any idea if you voted this in today, how much money you would generate from the retirees? Because obviously that's what most of us are concerned about here.
Once again, I think Dave needs to be specific about what's being proposed. A portion of the dependent coverage, nothing to do with the specific retirees.
But I'm interested in how much that is
I
going
know,
to.
and that's what I'm trying to ask.
Okay.
Well, you're asking for what the savings would be?
Right.
Yes.
It'd be somewhere around, well, I'd have to go back and do the analysis on it, but somewhere in the neighborhood of,
How many dependents do you have on coverage?
well, that's the thing, is I don't have the list of how many dependents are there, but I guess I could provide that information back to you, because this is just sort of we just tried to put together a general idea of some options, and then we're gonna, as we got more specific, we could go and look at those particular areas, but the healthcare portion is, it's at least $100 a month per retiree, and $160 per month for retiring with 2 or more dependents. So that's the range that would be saving if 20% copay. And again, I don't have the rates because like some are on the Medicare, so they're less. So there's some issues there, but I certainly could provide some cost items to go. But I think the other thing you have to understand is that this thing is growing very rapidly. It's sort of analogous, I think, to our situation with Social Security. We have about 78 or 79 current positions. 10 years ago, we had 10 employees that were receiving retirement. Today, we have 32. There'll be a time 20, 25, 30 years from now, there'll be more retirees than there are going to be active employees. So you're going to have less and less money going to cover those costs. And that's really where we're at on this. This is we're trying to deal with a long-term financial problem that is growing rapidly. Because as I mentioned, in 10 years, we've had a 200+ increase in the number of retirees. We've had a 75% plus increase in costs just on the premium. So you got those two factors working, and at some point, we're going to be spending millions of dollars a year on retiree health benefits. And that's where we're trying to at least just try to talk about ways to try to curb some of those costs.
And so we're saying again, we're not making any decisions today. We are having a meeting for input, and that's what we're getting. And believe me, we are thoroughly going to digest every presentation, every letter, because some of these, not some of them, all of them, were very, very meaningful and have a lot of good thoughts that I'm sure we didn't think about all of it.
Thank you.
Did you have any comments before we get back to Mr. Rich? Charlie or
Could I
Bob?
ask one more?
Oh.
I was reading this letter that came from a Kristen V. Coon, and she mentions in here, now you keep mentioning that every year we have more and more retirees having full health care benefits. And she mentions in here that certain members of management were promised and collected lifetime benefits after 2 years of employment. That would certainly draw people to apply. That would certainly encourage people to come and want to work for CCWD, but I would think that would certainly encourage them after 2 years to retire. And so every 2 years, you got one more person. So I was wondering, is that still a practice? And if it is, that looks like a good money-saving thing.
No, that is no longer.
It's no
That was
longer?
a unique
Good, thank you.
agreement and contract. Yes, sir.
Okay.
My name is Carl and Sarah. I worked for the district as superintendent for 30 years. And I can see a couple familiar faces on the board. I question the manager statement as the retirement being unfunded. What was funding it in the past years?
budget money every year for it. It's unlike your retirement. Once you retire, HERS sets aside the money so that you're fully vested and fully paid. We pay as you go. So every year during the budget time, we allocate money to pay for retiree health insurance.
I understand that. Has the board been offered a mathematical equation of how much this increase in benefits would cost each single taxpayer or ratepayer?
No, but that's something we need to see.
Well, it'd be very simple to do. I think management should offer that to the board in order to make a prudent decision of what it costs each individual. And that's what you're dealing with when you talk to the people out in the public. They could care less what it's costing the neighbors. They're talking about their own self. I was supported by a very talented team, and they're in the audience right now, and we work hard for the district and also work hard for our benefits. We gave up wages through the years, not just once, but several years. Even considered wage increase because the North Fork project was on the ballot. We were asked by the management. Without the North Fork, probably you people wouldn't be sitting there. It generates a lot of money. And in another 30 years, you can renegotiate this money that's coming in now at a greater expense. I don't know if you are aware of that, but it certainly is there in the minutes. I thank you for your time, and I hope you make the right decision.
John, you want the second?
Part of Mr. Ridge's question was about the difficulty in recruitment, and I can certainly offer a couple of observations about that. I'm a grade, in addition to all other things, I'm a grade 5 water plant operator. And I've received flyers because of that. I'm on the state mailing list. A recent flyer was $125,000 a year in the Bay Area. Out in the Central Valley here was $96,000 a year. Certain state certifications are plug and play. You can take them anywhere you want to go. It's a state certification that says you're qualified to operate whatever it is that's in front of you, and you can't expect to not pay a wage that's similar to what the neighbor is paying and recruit folks. You have to kind of look at total compensation though, because there are benefits that can enhance, make more attractive a particular job. So it's just an observation.
No, I understand, and I think the lady here illustrated the point I was trying to make to have the audience understand, is that one of the things about trading over the years as the district was small, giving up wages, hard wages for benefits, because you knew that when you retired you would take care of it. I mean, we've got people that are looking at us and saying, I'm getting close to retirement, so I'll put in as little time as I can to get the retirement benefit, which then has us a problem is I'm not keeping people long. And so I made the point to you that when you look at going back to the hard benefit, okay, then if I turn around and raise the hard benefit to attract the young people, okay, and then they have a benefit package that doesn't either treat them the same or doesn't reflect a comparable package, then I have the problem that I'm attracting senior people. They come, they put their minimum time, and they go, and the young people can't feed their families. So I'm just saying that formula has some hooks in it. I want to add one other point, because we are considering a lot of things, and we didn't get a chance to explain this to the last gentleman. There's one group of people that I believe I represent, but not one person here keeps representing. Okay? 1.25% of all of the property tax money in this county goes to the water district. And my problem is when I sit there and listen to people that say, well, I'm paying for your benefits of the thing. No, everybody in the county is. And what has happened is that property tax money has been used to subsidize operations. And I have asked the question of the board, and we did address it in our last things, is they're sitting there giving you, I'm on a well, I'm on septic, and I'm paying you benefits. You don't even come to my property. And my point is, I'm saying we started to move that not into soft costs and supporting operating costs. All I'm doing is making the people who get the services cost less, and I don't get anything. And I think I'm trying to move that into hard dollars to get pipes. I have areas of our county that are paying us taxes that truck water in pickup trucks. And I think they are due something. So I'm just saying to you in terms of the picture, life's a little different than it was when you were here, and we're trying to figure out a solution. And I do appreciate today's meeting it's more than, it's dollars, everything boils down to dollars, but we're trying to find a balance that works for everybody. And I know I'm taking a lot of notes. I really appreciate the input and the time, and it's like anything else, not everybody hears all the information from the people they listen to, and giving an opportunity to have people get a clearer idea of what we're trying to solve really helps.
Right, in one of my former lives, I was a part of a management clump of about 25 folks, and we did bargain that at a particular date, any person hired after that date would have a different range of benefits than those hired before that date, so it's entirely possible.
No, we understand.
Should take that into account.
Thank you very much.
Linda, are you going to stand up?
Just briefly, Jeff, you know me, Ruth, you know me, Charlie, you know me, Mr. Anderson, and Larry. I worked for the water district for 25 years and retired 7 years ago. And I essentially have general managers like Simon, our Simon's still here, Mr. Felty, and worked 25 long, hard years for the board members. Lots of meetings, lots of stress. Lawsuits, forming the UPA, and to name a few. And in the old days, like with a lot of fellows here, we wore a lot of hats. I even ran a water laboratory for many years. Got the lab certified. I didn't know anything about chemistry. And my point is, after 25 long, hard years, I decided to pass the torch on this because of our benefit package. And at that time, it was 2% 55, which was great. And knowing that I've had health benefits, that made it even more logical for me to step on and go do something else. And so then my husband and I retired, and I'm nowhere near Medicare age, and on Social Security for that matter. And I don't have any people inheritances coming along; they're all gone. So we're kind of set on a fixed income, boom, boom. And so with the cost of living these days, I notice every time I go to the store, things are higher and higher, and we're just starting to having to, jump into our savings more and more and more. So it's kind of getting kind of scary. So I was just doing some computing. I just read the agenda package today, which gave me a little bit more insight on what David and you were trying to do. And say you take 20%, say in our case it's $160 a month. And then you take away the dental and vision, and I computed that out for old people. I don't know about you, but I have more root canals and more crowns. Crowns can cost $1,000. Root canals can cost, 1,000 or more. If you divide that into 12, it comes out to about $100 a month for dental and vision. If you get glasses, like my eyes are getting worse all the time. We're talking about $40 more. So when you can get all that up, we're looking at way over, say, $300 right now that we have to come up with, us retirees. And granted, everybody has a different situation, but I know there are some here it's really going to hurt them. $300 is a lot of money for a retiree who has no other income coming in. So a lot of times I joke with my husband, I thought, well, I guess I'll have to go work for Burger King. You laugh, but, because when you get to be my age, I've been out of the mainstream for a while, and frankly, I was so sick of computers and word processing after all those years. I don't even like to do it anymore. I don't know that I'd be able to come back into a work environment to do those kinds of things. So, what kind of jobs are people like me and other people going to find? Think about it. Quite clearly. And I don't mind working for Burger King. I'm not bad mouthing it, I'm just saying that might be where I'd have to go. And in my particular case, to be honest, I think I'm gonna make it by the grace of God, so I'm not gonna really worry about it too much. But I do know, I have friends here, I know it's gonna hurt them. I'm about ready to cry. So I just wanna say that it's not only retirees are gonna be affected by this, it's gonna be these poor young families of these guys are coming into the water district, these fellas that want it in the field, for example, and they have children. I just, you know, you're gonna either disgruntle them or they're gonna leave. And have to leave the area and go find one of these fancy jobs in the valley where they pay a lot more money, I guess. But I just feel like there's a rift between the board and the employees, and I just don't think that's a great environment to work with. You know, guys ought to work together and somehow come up with a good program that's going to make everybody happy. Because you do have a lot of good people here now. And I know from the past, all the hardworking people here, and all the things that Roger said is so true. You know, I can still remember Jerry out there digging ditches like crazy, hardworking man, you know, and I just hate to see all this kind of rift going on. So, I just was kind of wondering what was really generating all of this need to somehow take away the benefits, and I wondered if it had to do with, for instance, negotiating for the union. Does he want to put a feather in his cap? I don't know him, so I'm just saying that. Or is it someone wants to put their feather in a cap so they can get a better job someplace else? I don't know. I don't know these people, I'm not going to make any guesses, but I just hope that you really look compassionately at what's going on here and maybe come up with a plan that you don't ding the retirees especially. I retired, I could still be here until I was 62, but I opted to go out just for that very reason that, you know, I did have health benefits. I just, you know, come up with a plan that's not going to ding the retirees and the current employees as well. And I hope that in these negotiations you have with the SEIU, I hope that somehow or another you can bury the hatchet and clean that table off of all those negative things that is going on, like CTO. I brought that to mind because I never got CTO, and all the years I put in a jillion hours overtime, never got paid for it. I'm just praying for everybody here. And God bless you all, and I hope you come up with a good solution because there's a lot of good people here. Oh, by the way, because of my health benefits, I'm happy to say a year ago I had major back surgery, and which cost $2,000. And had I not had health benefits, I'd be in a wheelchair today. So I feel blessed for having that health insurance.
Thank you so much. Now, coming back to the letter that David, or to our board packet, David had some changes that we were only going to consider, and we've already talked about discontinuing the vision, discontinuing the dental, and continue having the district pay 100% of the retirees' medical insurance premium, but require the retiree to pay up to 20% of the premium cost per dependents. That was all the letter said, or that was all our general packet said. We have made no decisions. We will have serious but major discussion on everything that we heard today. One of the things that was thrown out is the fact that I wanted to ask the public, what do you feel about forming a committee with this couple of the CCWD board members, a couple of retirees? Would you be able to come up with a couple of people who would represent the retirees because you don't have?
Yeah, and I would like to make a suggestion that the current employees also be represented in that committee as well. And I would volunteer for that.
Are we in
Negotiation
negotiations?
process with
Yeah.
that. This will just be with retirees.
With retirees, because we are in negotiations already with the
I think it's a wonderful suggestion.
employees. So that could we have, a couple of people step up to the plate and
Could we get together as a group and determine who those people might be, instead of just, today we gotta pick 2 people?
And then we would look at it, within a month, come up with, have a couple of meetings and come up with the best solution that we can have. Does that make sense?
I'm just curious, are you trying to come up with a solution for the retirees only here?
Yes.
I mean, if you,
Just retirees.
but I'm confused. If we're under a PERS contract, right, and all of us are under a PERS contract, if, let's say we come up with a plan for retirees, won't that affect the current employees? Can you separate the two?
They are separate. Yeah,
Right, I know that, but
It will.
PERS contract affects, is, they're both the same for retirees and current employees, so if we decide, say, to take a 20%, we have to pay 27%, doesn't that mean the employees have to as well? So in other words, you can't make that decision.
So there's one issue that the vision and dental are not linked to any PERS
Okay, but
issues.
the other,
Then the other one, but obviously there are provisions that allow for unequal. Currently, you're right, it's equal, everybody gets paid the same, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
in other words,
You have to adopt a new resolution and go to the PERS. Well, there's other provisions for that, but because of the way the law is set up, we have to deal directly with the employees through the labor relations process, and retirees are separate from that, because they're not employees.
But you have, yes.
If, we could have some time, like a couple of days, to offer you 2 people, I think, we can probably come up with 2 to help you in determining that.
Oh, that would, we're not asking you to just, do it today. Certainly you can have time to do that. I think that would be. Okay, so yes, if you could get back to us by, let's say, October the 17th, would that give you a week?
Madam President, might we ask that it be agendized for your next meeting to set up that ad hoc committee?
That'd be fine. I think if you can get us a correspondence saying who wants to be on it by that, a week before that meeting, that'd be fine. That'd be about the 17th.
Our next meeting will be on the 24th. So that's.
Okay.
Anything from the board? We wanted discussion action regarding district retiree health care policies, and we had a motion. No.
The next meeting?
Yes, yes.
I just want to thank everybody that came here today. I don't think there's any, it's clear how valuable our employees are and our retirees and the contribution they made to really building Calaveras County. And I think that, for myself, I don't want to be considering taking anything away from our retirees. However, we have to have a recognition of the cost of the future. And so, what I hope we can come up with is a solution where we, pay the respect and we fulfill our promises to people who are retired and people who were promised retirement that work here today. But we also come up with a real economic solution for our ratepayers, because they weren't represented here today very well. No offense, Marty.
We had one. We had one.
We had one. But I'm just saying, I hope that we can come to some sort of solution that leaves retirees whole, but it has a recognition and of the future costs that we're going to capture. And I think it's up to our staff to start putting those costs in front of us, because if it's a quarter, I'll raise rates by a quarter to pay for this. If it's another $5, then we got a problem, because our ratepayers don't want another $5 their month. It'll happen one day, but it doesn't have to happen right on the back of the previous rate increase. So I'm going to want to see those numbers, you know, I wanna see I wanna see the future growth of how those numbers are gonna go, and how many retirees we're expected to have in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Because I think we need to have that recognition so we can plan for the district for our future. So I just hope that that's what we can do.
Did I have another comment?
I'm Monty Krieger, I'm a ratepayer. I want this board, if you're gonna make these people pay, I want this board to start paying for all their benefits, all the things they get. I get sick and tired of the ratepayers paying for all your stuff. And budget on meetings, going out of town, it's been going on for years here. So you're gonna talk to these people, start right over here with all five.
You do, excuse me, Monty, you do remember that, yeah, that the directors
You
made,
retirement, we endorsed it's gonna stop, right?
yes, based
You're
on
not
comments we heard.
employees, you are for your elected officials. That's all. You get $100 a week, that's enough.
Sometimes it's
So
too
the
much.
board does no retirement, is that what you're saying? That's correct.
We do have some retired board
Because
members.
We do have retired board members, but that practice is no longer.
You know, there was one thing that came to mind when I was listening to everyone, the quality of life after you retire can be quite a challenge. But when you retire, that's when you move into another area of your life where you volunteer. I run the volunteer center in Calaveras County. And I know that so many of our volunteers, they have the time and the will, but they just can't afford to because they gotta go with the work or something like that, you know. But the volunteers are the glue that hold our community together. And if they all said, this is my last day, life as we know it would cease to exist. I just want to throw that out there. So anyway,
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening.
All right, if we can, yes, if we could have a motion to table. Okay, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.